This is America in Space, a weekly news and information program on current events dealing with the space industry. From the Washington News Bureau, here is your host, Rick Potlock.
Welcome to another edition of America in Space. In this episode, we'll be talking to Mark Rober with part 3 of his series on why NASA is worth the money. Today's episode is Offshoot Technology. But first, here is David Denault with Space Trivia.
The answer to today's space trivia should be somewhat easy for our listeners, Rick. And joining me is a 28-year veteran of the Space Shuttle program, our Florida Space News editor, Don Meyer, with our question.
Thanks, David. Today's question. The International Space Station has been home to how many astronauts from how many different countries? In other words, how many individuals from how many countries? You have until midnight tonight to submit your answer to info@aboutspace.today. From Florida's Space Coast, this is Don Meyer for About Space Today.
In part 3 of Mark Rober's series on Is NASA Worth the Money, today's episode is Offshoot Technology.
America's first satellite was built here at JPL, and now satellites make it so we can get GPS driving directions on our phone, or get TV beamed down to us from space, or predict the path of hurricanes with much greater accuracy. The word pixel and the concept of the first digital camera was also invented at JPL in the 1960s when an engineer was trying to solve how to get pictures of the planets and send them back to Earth. In fact, there are nearly 2,000 NASA technology spin-offs. We don't know what we don't know. And so expecting NASA to justify its funding by predicting all the amazing things it will discover would be like expecting Christopher Columbus, when he was lobbying Queen Isabella for ships, to predict the polio vaccine or Netflix.
Next week on America in Space, Mark Rober will wrap up his series with part 4 on the economy and part 5 on exploration and imagination. January the 28th, NASA will not really celebrate, but will acknowledge a 35th anniversary. Back in 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded 73 seconds after launch, killing all 7 members of the crew. The mission was the 10th for the Challenger orbiter. The dead included Francis R. Scobie, commander; Michael J. Smith, pilot; Ronald McNair, mission specialist; Ellison Onizuka, mission specialist; Judy Resnick, mission specialist; Gregory Jarvis, payload specialist; and Krista McAuliffe, payload specialist and teacher. The astronauts' names are among those of several astronauts and cosmonauts who have died in the line of duty listed on the Space Mirror Memorial at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. And a fragment of Challenger's fuselage is on display as part of the Forever Remembered installation, also at the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. And a reminder, you have until midnight tonight to submit your answer to today's space trivia question to info@aboutspace.today. And that's this edition of America in Space. Tuesday on About Space Today, David will have more space trivia. One quick news note, a SpaceX Falcon 9 launched a Turkish communication satellite January 7th to start what may be the busiest year yet for the launch company. The Falcon 9 lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Center at 9:15 Eastern Time, more than 45 minutes into a 4-hour launch window. SpaceX delayed the launch from the start of the window because of a problem with the ground station downrange from the launch site. Reporting from the Washington News Bureau, I'm Rick Potlock.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to share our program with your family and friends and follow us on Facebook. Join us each week for news and information on America in Space.